Shalom, and welcome to Psychology of the Parsha for Parshat Behar. Parshat Behar begins with the mitzvah of Shemitah. That's the sabbatical year in Israel. Goes over to the year of Yovel, which is the Jubilee year. And together, both of them require the farmer to totally cease all work on his fields, not to engage in plowing, in sowing, in tilling, and not to engage in actively making anything grow. Now, of course, how does one eat? Should one be concerned? Or should one have faith in God and say, listen, God told me to do it, and whatever happens, happens, because He's in charge. Well, very interesting perspective in this week's Parsha. If you look in chapter 25, verse 20, after telling us the details of the sabbatical year and the Jubilee year, the Torah says, quote, "And if you shall say," meaning you shall ask, "What shall we eat in the seventh year? Behold, we are not permitted to sow, and we cannot gather in our harvest." In other words, hello, where's the food going to come from? I have to eat. Not just me. It's my livestock, my children, my family, everyone. What do I do? What do I eat? Now, the Torah responds, and the Torah says, don't worry. Hashem says, "And I will command my blessing for you in this sixth year, and it shall bring forth a harvest for 3 years." Right? All the way for the sixth year, for the seventh year, and even into the eighth year when you're still just starting to once again recultivate the land. Very nice. So ultimately, what's Hashem saying to us? You're right. Believe in me. I'm fine. I'll take care of you. If I give you this mitzvah, you certainly will not be harmed by it. Now I ask you a question. Why does the Torah say it this way? Why is the Torah telling us, if you shall ask, this is the answer? The Torah could have just said, I will provide for these several years. Or the Torah doesn't have to say anything. When the Torah tells us, for example, to eat kosher, or to keep the Shabbat, does the Torah say, oh, don't worry, whatever money you lose in Shabbat, don't worry, I'll make it up for you in the 6 days. Or that money's not yours, that money wasn't meant to be yours, as we know, don't worry. No. The Torah says you should keep kosher. But it's going to cost so much money, so much more money, it takes so much more to prepare kosher food, and to slaughter it the proper way and everything. Torah doesn't address it. Why is the Torah saying this here? Moreover, the fact that the Torah puts in a whole verse that says, quote, "And if you shall ask, what shall we eat?" and so on, is actually legitimizing this question. Is it a legitimate question? Is the Torah telling me this is a legitimate way to think? Perhaps I would suggest the following. See, there's many people, and many religions perhaps you even have, where it's just assumed or associated that if you are, or presumed I should say, that if you are religious, if you believe, you have faith, you have faith. Don't ask any questions. Don't be concerned about anything. In other words, because I have faith, I cease being a human being, at least in that sense, and now I'm an angel. Everything's fine. Everything goes. First of all, that's not realistic. Second of all, it's not sustainable. Because at some point you crack. Not always do things work out exactly the way we think they should work out. Not always do we see God's hand as we would like to. And is that what faith is? So Hashem tells us, no. You have full faith, and at the same time, you have that, almost like I call it, a counterbalance. Where there's the normal, pragmatic, practical human side to you. What am I going to eat? I got a family to feed. How am I going to do this? How are we going to sustain this? Now this, perhaps, is the the oxymoron, if you may, that gets every Jew into trouble. Or perhaps that makes it so difficult to understand. Us meaning the Jew that follows the Torah. On the one hand, the Torah tells you to have absolute faith. If this is what Hashem wants you to do, you do it. And you have no worries. And even if you do have worries, you still do it. Hashem will take care of business. He knows what's right. He's the master of the world. He runs the show. And at the same time, not at another time, not the day before, the day after, simultaneously, you're an absolute pragmatic human being asking questions. This doesn't exist elsewhere. Either you have faith or you're pragmatic. Both together, fused together, that doesn't exist. And that is really the message here. At the same time, you have full faith. You went to pray in the morning. Why are you going to work? Why are you honing your skills? Why are you taking that new course on how to sell better or how to program your computer better? Don't bother. You just give it a token, gesture of involvement, and Hashem will take care of the rest. No. You have to ask this question. The Torah is not only legitimizing if you ask the question, the Torah is almost telling us you must ask this question. In order to have real faith in God, you need to be absolutely practical. And that's the message here. Okay? So be practical and at the same time have faith. And that's the ultimate Jewish pragmatism. Shalom.